Métele sabor. Ajá.
Every salsa step can be traced back to one particular groove, and it's from the eastern part of Cuba. It's called son. And without son, salsa simply wouldn't exist. Son sprouted out of a province in the eastern side of the island called the Oriente. And this is during a time of sugarcane fields, coffee plantations, and dockside communities where African rhythms, Spanish strings, and indigenous percussion would collide for the first time in Cuba. It's good to remember that at this time, society was split in Cuba, split between the more upper-class colonial social circles and the more lower-class enslaved social circles. So in the more upper-class colonial social circles, you'll hear the cultural expressions of the contradanza, the more formal dance form that was done in the European court, which developed into the danzón. And in the more lower class enslaved villages and in the mountains, you'll hear other forms of cultural expression such as changüí, nengón, and kiribá, even early bachata, all of which are all cousins of what we now know as son. The original son was only played by about 4 to 5 different instruments, but when these instruments combined and intertwined the rhythmic tumbaos, it created an irresistible groove to dance to. The first instrument, the tres guitar, was an instrument made of 3 strings. It's played by the traveling trovadores in Cuba, or the traveling poets, storytellers at the time, and it has Spanish and Arabic roots. There's also the bongo, which comes right out of Abacua, one of the African secret societies or cabildos in Cuba, which derives from the Calabar region and the Cameroon inside of Africa. Then there's the marimbula, which is a very interesting adaptation of some of the thumb pianos in Africa. There's the güiro and maraca. These are instruments said to have been cultivated and played by the indigenous Taino people of the island. And finally, the claves, the 2 sticks. The claves would eventually enter the son when son started to move from the eastern part of the island to the western part of the island in the shipping docks, places like Havana and Matanzas. After the Haitian Revolution, as time passed, Cuba became one of the biggest distributors of sugar in the Caribbean. So a lot of workers, a lot of trovadores would take the son that was developing in the eastern part of the island with guitars on their back, with bongos in their hand. They would move westward to places like Matanzas, places like Havana, which were the big, bustling commerce ports that were starting to develop around sugar at the time in Cuba. In the black neighborhood of Matanzas called Pueblo Nuevo, a young bassist and member of the Abacua secret society, Cabildo, his name was Ignacio Piñero. He had a question. His question was, how do we make this son a little bit more danceable? Because the son that came from the eastern part of the island wasn't as danceable. The answer to his question was, add the clave from the rumba that was happening in the cabildos, in the solares of Havana, and also add in the trumpet that was happening from the big bands at the time. 1927, Septeto Nacional is born. Son speeds up, it gains more flavor, more swing, and in the capital, Havana, it blows up and it turns into an irresistible social dance. Ignacio Piñero was very important to the development of son because he was deep in the culture of Abacua, the African secret society cultures coming from Nigeria and Cameroon. He's the one, Ignacio Piñero, who put the claves into the son. He's the one who started to weave Afro-Cuban chants into the verses of son. And we'll also see this is where some styles that we'll see coming up later, such as bolero song, guajira song, guaracha song come from, but they all come and they all will have that same heartbeat of son. By the time the 1970s hits, everyone's calling it salsa. But we have to remember that all the bands of Fania, even the timba stars today, they all are influenced and inspired by and learned from the traditional son. So this is a brief story of the son, where it came from, but why is this important for timing? This is important because the time step of son, it breaks on 2, and it uses contratiempo timing to accent the ands or the 8th notes. So if you're able to master this, if you're able to understand that concept of contratiempo and integrate it into the coordination of your footwork, this gives you access to all the subgenres of salsa, from son, son montuno, danzón, mambo, cha-cha-cha, timba, On1 timing, and On2 timing. So that's what we're gonna get into next.